2, 1.
The most intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano. And as you can see, we have a special guest sitting there at the far right, Giuliano Argenti. How we doing, my friend?
Hi, kid. I'm good. I was streaming before this, and then also like I said, like I was telling you guys off air, Dougie's corner. He lost the bet on the main event to me, so he's paying that in the form of a 3.5 hour live stream, where he has to chronicle the downward spiral leading up to him selecting Airseg. And he's Australian, the whole hometown favorite thing. It's very important that people understand that betting based on emotion, it's like he's like, you lost that bet to me, and like an actual, someone that's gonna ruthlessly come for his thumbs, or or that it wasn't like money both ways, but
doing a stream isn't the worst thing you have to do for a lost bet. I mean, we've definitely seen and heard worse, right? So folks, we are here to break down this UFC Mexico City card, and we have a hell of a card to get into, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. And you can see my co-host, Jive Turkey Nano, is representing Mexico in full spirit. How are we doing, brother?
Doing great, brother. Great to see you. Great to have you, Giuliano. Great to see everybody trickling in here. We got 19 live, Jive and thriving. We got El Capitan, Paradox, MOW. We see you all out there. Sean Moody, Tom. The founding father over here, like Tom in MySpace, the first comment, we see you up there. Good little emoji action.
You see, Paradox just said that he's saying that I just made it to the big league. I got to tell you guys how often Paradox, there's no other way to say it. Paradox glazes you guys like every other day. Like, he's constantly talking about, it's like, dude, I would kill.
Let's go.
That show.
Let's go. Hey, well, Paradox, come on through.
Paradox, I appreciate it, man.
Paradox is, he's all about you guys. So.
Sounds like a sound individual right there. Knows what they're talking about. Paradox.
Someone has great taste. And what up, Thal? Happy to see you here. Good evening to you as well. Sean Moody, Manuel Ram hitting us with the fire comments right off the bat. WMMA made the card even stronger. Say that a little bit louder for my boy Sterling, aka S Dogs MMA. We know how much he hates MMA or WMMA.
That's what's that, Giuliano? It's not gonna happen next Saturday, where you got, I think, 3 or 4 WMMA fights, including Diana Belbita, who is arguably the hottest girl on the UFC roster, and she's gonna get killed. Like, I might even lock her opponent. I mean,
it's gonna be a tough night. It's gonna be a tough night.
Yeah. Yeah,
for some of those fights. But Saturday was actually a really good night as far as the fights went, right? We started off with Marquel Medeiros in the lightweight division coming in against Austin Hubbard. I thought Austin Hubbard actually had a shot coming into this one. And look, it looked like he did, in my opinion, right? He actually fought a pretty decent fight. Yeah, he actually fought a really decent fight. And again, he showed his veteranship. He showed exactly what he's made of. But Marquel Mederos, again, proved to be the younger and stronger guy out there. And arguably the smarter guy. The fight IQ, I think, is what really made the difference in this fight.
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I think that fight was probably the hardest fight from like a prediction standpoint to pick. You know, like you got two guys whose striking is sloppy. You know, and the thing with Austin Hubbard is that like the way that he fights, it's almost like he doesn't know that like knockouts are an option. Like, you know, he fights like he's hard sparring, and you know, he doesn't really know where to go from the clinch. Yeah, I thought like, you know, I thought Medeiros, like, I mean, Medeiros hesitated more than I was comfortable with, and it really kind of pissed me off actually. Like, you know, but I picked Medeiros. I mean, he got the win, not as decisively as I, you know, would have liked. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, like, I mean, you know, it's the first fight on the card. Neither one of them was really going. It kind of reminded me of like Cedric Dumas versus like Dennis Tulian. Like just which one of these guys is going to be less mediocre. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I don't know. That being said, like, I mean, Medeiros could improve, but I mean,
did you think the judges got it right, or
yeah,
like would you have argued if they had given the nod to Hubbard?
If they gave it to Hubbard, I would have. Yeah, it would have been. I mean, it would have been incorrect. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, you know, I don't know how how the one judge gave 2 rounds to Hubbard, to be honest. I mean, I saw it 29-28 completely.
Osterberry's, I'm with you, my friend. And I missed that first comment. Yo, what's up, everyone? Big up to the chat, big up to the channel. How your picks treat you, Olin? I got 2 out of 3 this week on the competition, my friend. I got 2 out of 3 this week. The one I missed, unfortunately, was Austin Hubbard. So it is what it is. As Giuliano said so articulately, he was the hardest person to. I mean, this was the hardest fight to bet on.
It really.
It could have gone either way.
Yeah,
it really could have gone either way. And in the competition we're in, you have to pick 3 underdogs per week, and you have to set one of those as your dog of the week. Nato, what were your thoughts on this one, man?
Stop looking for underdogs.
That's a tough one.
Well, we're not like this is just a competition amongst friends.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I know I hear you on your channel all the time say stop hunting for underdogs.
That's why Lane wound up losing her bet to me that we have every card on disagreements, because she needed that underdog so badly that she picked Vince Pichel, and her just like,
yeah, don't be a hero. Don't be a hero. Don't play hero ball.
Pichel in a bit. But Nano, what'd you think of this Marquel Mederos fight, my friend?
It was a fun one to set the tone, right? I mean, we're out here in Mexico City, you know, so we know my Mexican people love violence. And that was what we got, a good taste here to set the tone. It had some lulls. I mean, Austin was basically a backpack in that first round, but overall, it was a good back and forth exchange for 15 minutes, but Marquel clearly won. I'm with Giuliano here. I'm surprised that we saw a split decision. I was a little shocked, but the younger, you know, more talented, just a little bit hungrier fighter won this fight on Saturday. Now, not to knock our boy Austin Hubbard, AH, we do like him. We'll always root for him, but I think there was definitely a little bit of a skill discrepancy, a little bit of a speed discrepancy, and he definitely started to fade there, hence why he only got 2 out of the 9 takedowns. He just wasn't able to keep that foot on the gas, and it's tiring. I mean, you know, riding as someone's back there, I mean, you're gassing your legs, your core. If you're not getting the choke, it's going to be tough, especially if that's your maybe one trick, one path to victory there, because wasn't going to be able to outstrike him. But it was a good back and forth. Good, good little tussle to set the tone. But it's only up from here, ladies and gents. So overall, it was a really fun card. We've got the Rambling Dad around. Here we go.
Shout out the Rambling Dad. Just as I'm heading to bed, have a good stream, boys. I'll catch the replay in mañana. Smash that like button, people. I appreciate you, my friend. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a fantastic sleep. Osterberries. Let's go, McDane. Oh, speaking of which, McDane, how'd you do on your picks this week? Leroy. Oh, man, we got all the legends in the chat tonight. My guys, let's freaking go.
Leroy. What do?
With that being said, I don't know that I want to play matchmaker for this young man. I don't know if either one of you guys want to play matchmaker for Marquel Mederos. I think we're good to move on to the next fight, yeah? Oh.
Have him fight Alexander Hernandez and do what Austin Hubbard couldn't manage to do.
I'm actually not mad at that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's a
8 out of
fantastic
10.
pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, where do you go from Austin Hubbard? Go to the dude he just lost to before.
Fair. Easy ladder to climb, right? Or a logical ladder to climb, rather. So with that being said, we'll climb our logical ladder into the next fight, which took place in the featherweight division between Jamall Emmers and Gabriel Miranda. Nano, I'll let you take the lead on this one, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be short and sweet here while Giuliano lights up another dart there for the boys and for all y'all here streaming in.
You will see me chain smoking. Probably.
I love it. We all partake. We all are victims of our vices here, and we support them. Right? We all responsible adults here.
That's why I
having
made
some fun.
the little emoji guy underneath you appropriate.
And if I didn't want to mess up my carpet here, I pour one out for all the real ones. Most specifically here, Mr. Gabriel Miranda and that awesome mustache. I don't know how much longer we'll be seeing that mustache here in the UFC.
It sounds like you got a better mustache. It looks like he fell out of a time machine, bro.
Dude, honestly,
His
yeah, it looks
mustache
like
is incredible.
looks like a 1920s boxer. Yeah, he definitely gives off that energy. And he came out there guns blazing. He shot for the takedown. He knew what he was trying to do. That was obviously his game plan. But Jamall Emmers was able to weather the early storm, if you want to call it that. Able to connect with those long limbs, like the long reach he has, and it was over. It was over before it really began. Made quick work of Mr. Miranda here, but Jamall Emmers, he's that guy. He's got that kind of power. He showed he has that wrestling defense that you need to have, that takedown defense. And onward and upward. I don't necessarily have another opponent top of mind, but the featherweight's got another dude that's certainly looking to make a name for himself, as we like to say around here. But anybody in the top 50 could get the smoke. I mean, really, we can scroll down the list. Jamall Emmers is currently ranked 49th. So again, anybody in that 40 to 30 range, I think can definitely make for a good matchup for Mr. Jamall. How'd you feel about it, Giuliano? What were your thoughts on this one? Is that your prediction?
So yeah, I mean, I make what's called a round robin parlay for every card, and to basically, protect your money. So it's like, if you 5 to 6, sometimes 7 locks, which I would have had if Piper hadn't pulled out. And the first lock on the card, as far as I was concerned, was Jamall Emmers. You watch tape on Gabriel Miranda, and the guy is completely fragile. He pulls guard almost as rampantly as fucking Herbert Burns, and which he did do. I called that. I also call it. I also said it's gonna be a first round knockout because, my friend No Chill, I don't know if you know No Chill MMA, but he did I was in New York for 6 weeks at the beginning of the year, and so a friend who I normally do predictions with obviously wasn't around. So I did one video with No Chill prediction video. I think it was Adesanya Malov, and he was talking about Terrence McKinney, right? He called him a glass. There's a term glass cannon, meaning dude either it's like a kill or be killed style, and to a slightly lesser degree, that's what Jamall Emmers is, he's gonna try to knock you out, right? Gabriel Miranda gets knocked out, and people are going, he trains at elevation, and the amount to which that is that's not insignificant, but everybody's talking about the elevation, and it's okay, well, what kind of training does he do? Just fight training, strength and conditioning, both? Who's he train with? What's his style? And training at elevation, his entire life is not gonna fix his jaw, his chin rather. And yeah, man, I mean, it was a very that one was honestly an easy pick as far as I'm concerned. As far as who Jamall Emmers gets next, Gabriel Miranda is not. Is he as bad as CJ Vergara? No, but it's I think if Emmers is gonna go anywhere, you gotta see him against I wouldn't even. I don't even know if a Fernando Padilla is appropriate for his next fight. But maybe actually that'd be an interesting.
I mean, that's
fight.
not a terrible name. I wouldn't. I mean, I would pay attention to that fight. I was thinking,
yeah.
Maybe I'm biting off a little bit too much here. Maybe kick me off my bar stool. But I was thinking Billy Quarantillo's coming off 2 losses back to back.
That's a good one. That's a good one too.
And I feel like he's not a household name, but he's a good builder name. You know what I mean? And either way, if Billy comes back and wins that fight against the Jamall Emmers, which, as you said, is a bit of a glass cannon, that's a really great situation for somebody that, as I said, is coming off of a submission loss and a TKO loss back to back.
There's a couple of guys like Jonathan Pierce might be another one. I think Fernando.
I think JSP got cut.
Oh yeah, that's true. Fuck. Yeah, dude, I was fucking forget. Like, yeah, dude, they're chopping.
They've been chopping through. Right? Oh yeah, I've been saying they've been chopping through them, man. It's been wild. So I'll keep my thoughts on this fight short and sweet, and then we'll move into the next one. Look, I like to play devil's advocate here on the show, give you both sides, how I think it could go on either which way. And if there's a really, really juicy line, I'll sprinkle like a tiny, like a penny on it. You know what I mean? Gabriel Miranda by submission, that's how he gets like 60, 70% of his wins, a vast majority of his wins. And Jamall Emmers, as you said, is a bit of a glass cannon. He throws everything into his shots. So the only path to victory I did see, if any, for Gabriel Miranda was submission. I saw Jamall overexerting himself, possibly letting himself get caught by something, or even getting guard pulled on him and getting pulled into an armbar. But at the same time, there's a reason I didn't pick Gabriel Miranda as any of my dogs this week in the competition. I knew Jamall Emmers was probably going to go out there and starch this man, and he did. In the very first round via TKO, it was a solid right hand, followed by a little bit of crisp ground and pound to do the job, seal the deal. And like I said, I'd be happy to see him fight somebody like a Billy Quarantillo. If we want to see somebody get knocked out for sure, like a guaranteed knockout, we could even go so crazy as to say him versus a Nate the Train Landwehr would be a fun one. Again, I'm not mad at that, but maybe biting off a little bit too much here for young Jamall Emmers.
Dude, we're gonna find out Nate Landwehr is like, he's got like spinal stenosis or blood parasites or some shit because he.
Oh my god!
The way that he, I'm sorry, bro. The way that he fucking looked against Doho Choi, who's not good. Like, I mean, that had so much less to do with Choi being any kind of talent that did with Landwehr just being such ass, for seemingly no reason. No,
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. We try not to talk trash on any fighters here on the show. We try to respect everybody because
I mean, I'm not.
These guys step into the cage, right?
I'm not taking shots at his like character as a human being. I mean, his performance is performance. You know what I mean? Like, that last performance,
you're right, left a little bit to be desired. But also, you can't take anything away from Doho Choi. I mean, the dude has a fight that's been inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for a reason. He's an absolute dog, and typically goes out there and does well in spots where he's not supposed to. So, with that being said, we'll move back into the lightweight division for a fight between Rafa Garcia and Vince from Hell Pichel. I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. I'll keep it short and sweet because the fight was, pretty much according to script, right? Like I said, sprinkle a little bit on Vince Pichel only if you have money to freaking lose and burn, but only do it specifically by knockout because that is his only path to victory in this fight. I simply believe that because Rafa Garcia oftentimes marches forward with his hands down, which he did a lot in this fight. The first round, dominant work from Rafa Garcia. It looked like it was going to be a really, really rough night for Vince Pichel and that he was going to have no shot in this fight whatsoever. But then enter the second round. It's as if they hit the reset button on him. He comes in there with footwork and an elite level jab that he was just pumping out. It was nasty work with that jab, man. It was that second round of Vince Pichel was probably the best round of Vince Pichel we've seen in totality in the UFC in years. And then the third round was a little bit back and forth, but arguably Vince Pichel, being the man that he is, being the dog of a fighter that he is, started to take back the reins here. I mean, looking at total strikes, 88-76. Looking at significant strikes, 79-64. Vince Pichel outstruck him, which I know surprised a lot of people that were saying this was going to be a freaking landslide victory for the kid and Rafa Garcia. But I digress. Vince Pichel went out there and he knew that this is going to be his last fight, which it possibly could be in the UFC. He was going to do everything he could to leave it all out there in the octagon. And I think he did a good job of that. Did he lose the fight? Yes. Do I agree with the judges? Yes. But man, he made it a fight. He made it razor thin. Nano, what were your thoughts on this one, my guy?
Solid breakdown, brother. It was an interesting one. My initial thought as I'm watching it live, and this is going to sound bad, but, you know, I grew up in a town with a lot of different cultures and people, and I just thought, like, this could be a fight I would see in the parking lot at my local dive bar, okay, in my hometown, because it looked like some biker dude, big old stash, talking to some Theo that is a little too ripped up for his own good and probably thinks he's younger than he is. I'm making these jokes because we got a 42-year-old in Vince Pichel going out there against a 38-year-old Rafa Garcia. And I'll tell you what, though, I mean, age aside, they put on a good show. I think the thing with Vince, you mentioned the amount of strikes, which you love to see. You know, going 15 minutes at that age. I mean, you look at the LeBrons and Tom Brady's, not that I'm trying to put him in that class, but even a Jim Effin Miller, like, I think you just see a different tenacity. You see a different athleticism. At times, he would get hit, and it just, he was wobbling or just would lose his kind of equilibrium a little bit. He was getting pushed up against the fence. Rafa Garcia did a really good job of changing levels and mixing it up. A lot of fence work and leading the dance, really. But again, I just think Vince, it's just Father Time's undefeated. We know this. And not every punch is considered equal, even though he might have had more. He's busier. The just visual eye test, I felt like Rafa was going to take care of business there. But Tom the Almighty,
that's a turnaround. That's a turnaround. That always, anytime somebody spells it like that or says it like that, it reminds me of Conor McGregor and stuff. That's a turnaround.
Got to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And shout out Sav Jelly in the chat. Always love seeing you here. Hope you're having a fantastic night.
Yo, she was in my stream before. What's up, Savannah?
Let's go. And what were your thoughts on this one, Giuliano?
So, you know, like you were saying, there's, you know, I think, you know, I mean, Vince Pichel's age. I mean, there's like, you know, Vince Pichel's, you know, he's like a Jan or a Glover Teixeira 42, not a Tony Ferguson 42. I mean, Tony Ferguson's not even 42, and he's, you know, broken for sure. But I think Vince Pichel, I mean, I'll be honest, he made it, you know, he made it more competitive than I would have liked because I was, you know, I needed Garcia to win for, you know, for gambling purposes. But like breaking down the fight, I thought that, I mean, you're talking about like a bar fight, right? Between like, you know, an older dude. It's like, I mean, it's like, yeah, sure. But then like, you know, you see like how often you see the, you know, that fucking dude with the handlebar mustache throwing teep kicks and shit, you know?
The kicks were nice from Vince, huh?
Yeah, they were. And he, you know, I feel like, you know, Vince Pichel is a very technical fighter, and he's also very durable. Like, I mean, you know, like he lost his last fight before this, you know, pretty clearly, but he's very hard to finish him. You know, and like, you know, I think that like, he had a very good game plan. He made adjustments very well. I think that like, you know, he's a little bit less able. See, like the thing about somebody like Jim Miller, like how Jim Miller, feel like, you know, still. I mean, he's about to fight Chase Hooper and lose for sure. But like, you know, how he continued to be still like a formidable fighter, like, you know, into his age, it's like, you know, as his actual like physical fight acumen sort of starts to decline, like the experience and the ability to adjust and, you know, and sort of like know everything that could possibly happen and get a read on his opponent, you know, as fast as possible, you know, that only can grow. That's why so many really good fighters, like they become, you know, trainers and coaches and shit, you know, right away, like, because it's like they know everything there is to know and they're not able to really do it themselves anymore. I think that I think Vince Pichel is like just a couple though, somebody like, you know, Jim Miller or you know, or like Glover or Jan, you know, at that age. You know, and he you know, I also think he's aware of his limitations. I think like, you know, and you can see a lot of that in the sort of way that he struck defensively, you know. Like, you know, it's like, you know, it's like trying to keep Garcia the fuck away from him, you know, with the, and that, you know, without really much of like a, you know, and then occasionally he'd lunge in with like it's sort of like an overcommitment, you know. But you know, he did have his round for sure. And you know, I mean, probably a good place to retire. I mean,
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't, if this is it for him, I wouldn't be mad at that. That was a hell of a performance to go out on. He went out there and outstruck a guy that was supposed to go out there and dominate him. Like, let's call a spade, right? And shout out to the people in the chat real quick. Leroy, have a great night, my friend. We appreciate you tuning in, and hope the bedtime routine goes well for you and the kiddos. And Osterberry's got to bounce, got a meeting to go to. If I'm done in time, I'll hop back in. Have a great show, guys. Smash the like button and all that other good stuff. My guy, I hope you have the best shift you've had all freaking week, which shouldn't be hard since it's Monday. With that being said, we will go ahead and play matchmaker for Rafa Garcia. I know you got a name on the tip of your tongue for us, Giuliano. Who you got?
Honestly, like, I mean, after what Grant Dawson did to him, I mean, give him to probably like Drakkar Close. Like, see if he's ready for somebody who's going to try to finish him right away, you know, by whatever means. And, you know, if he's not, then, like, you know, UFC's cutting people. Like, you know, it's like, you know, the ball's in his court. Like, you know, I wasn't very impressed with him. So, like, you know, I think, like, you know,
I like it.
I'm not mad at
like,
that.
all right, you know, are you on this level or not, type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Who's this dude to the right? This is the legend, GiulianoArgenti, folks. Come on.
Yo, no chill.
You already know no chill.
That's no chill that I was talking about.
I know.
Yeah, we did a fucking Ryzen stream for like 8 hours right after UFC. That was
hell
crazy.
yeah. That's what's up, man.
Sheesh.
Ryzen's fire, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that name. Drakkar Close is a fire name. I think that's a solid pick. I would say, like, Drew Dober just got brutally knocked out, probably 16 shots more than he should have.
Right?
But he also said literally yesterday that he wants to fight again in July.
Dober did.
So
dude, that's a CTE talking,
bro. I mean, if
he thought he was
he's
still
able to have
fighting
a quick turnaround, I mean, maybe Drew Dober, but realistically, it's not something I would want to see. Yeah, I mean, Diego Fajeda's coming off of a loss. He's sitting pretty high up on the rankings in comparison. That's another name that I wouldn't be mad watching him fight. And I also think, like,
dude,
like you said,
guy Grant Dawson took out too. Grant Dawson.
There you go.
Like, yeah, I mean,
battle of the Suns, as the kids say, right?
dude, yeah, I mean,
It's all the right age kind of group, I feel like. It's the right caliber. It's the right kind of opponent. I think I'm close to a Drakkar Close. Maybe with you as well, MMAnomaly, but I'm even thinking like a Jared Gordon, you know, someone that's again on the back nine.
I mean, Jared, you gotta imagine Jared Gordon just fucking so pissed off at this point, dude. Like,
He's so over it, bro.
Maybe he's just never gonna fight.
Fights canceled, like, you know. I mean, yeah, I mean,
wins
sure,
a fight,
like,
doesn't get the decision. Like, Jared Gordon has not had a fun run in the UFC.
Give him Rafa Garcia. First round knockout, like he pulled off,
bounces back.
And yeah. Fuck Drakkar Close. I like Jared Gordon.
Yeah. Jared Gordon is the Cinderella story. Let's do it. What up, Lane? How you doing? What's up, boys? Leroy. No need to ever watch a Dober fight again. Oh boy, Lane.
Lane. Dude, Lane was great. She was gracious in defeat. Lane and I had a 3-part bet on 3 disagreements on this card, and it was 1-1 going into the Dober fight, and oh
Dober
my God,
sealed the deal.
I mean, I was like, somebody please, like, stop this fight. It's like just unanswered strikes. Yeah.
Throw the damn towel, as they once said on Rocky, the poster right behind me. Throw the damn towel.
That was a tough one. Like, we were doing a live watch along, and I probably, like, even heavily intoxicated, probably did not have the best reaction to that. I was like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, you're gonna get this guy killed. And one of the other guys was like, I don't know, he looks like he's okay. He popped right back up, and I'm like, no, dude, he's heavily concussed. And then when he started trying to fight again, it's literally as soon as he started trying to fight again, Sterling was like, all right, you're right, Doc. He's fucked up. I'm like, I'm telling you.
And he definitely did not pop up.
He literally got his eggs scrambled, brother.
He popped down. He plopped after. That's what I was like, oh, yeah, they should have called it. He just, power off
Speaking of plopping, we got to move into this next fight that took place in the women's strawweight division. It was a bout between Loopy Godinez and Julia Polastri. Not often does a women's strawweight have viral moments. Let's just call a spade, right? I watch every fight, including women's strawweight. Doesn't matter to me. Mixed martial arts is mixed martial arts. I'm a purist. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, again, like we can call a spade here, and it's not very often that you get a viral moment. She got not one, but two, folks. She got the power bomb, essentially, WWE style, off of catching a leg or a head kick. Just beautiful stuff to witness. So aesthetically pleasing. And also, I believe it was going into that last round, she told her corner that she had to poop, which of course
that's so bad, bro.
Coined her the name Loopy Godinez, as people have been calling her on Twitter and X, which people are ruthless. Man, that is the worst thing in the world. And like, we can make jokes about it, like we can all laugh our asses off, but it's not worth laughing at, folks. Like, if you have ever been in sparring, even, and all of a sudden you eat a body kick and you're like, oh no, bro, it is the worst feeling of panic and terror in your life. I can't imagine being in a professional fight on television and still and looking my coach in the eye and saying, I really gotta poop, and knowing I have a 5-minute round left that I have to fight hard and try and win, and then I have to take an interview, and then they're gonna walk me slowly to the back. Bro, I'm just gonna do it. It's just gonna happen. Like, I don't know that I have the capacity within me to hold it, bro. I genuinely felt bad for her in that moment. And the fact that she was able to hold it together, because again, with all due respect, I'm not going to throw the fighter's name out, but unfortunately, I do remember the fighter's name that did poop in the middle of the octagon while getting wrestled and choked. It was another women's fight. Fun fact.
Dude, I actually forgot what he done. You don't want to.
I'll send it to you in the private chat. But I don't want to call her out.
What are initials, bro? Come on.
It's
initials.
I'm not even trying to make a joke. The initials are JK. So I'm just gonna leave you with that. Don't say the name, dude. Don't do that.
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, don't do that. I don't want to be that asshole. But again, like, Loopy went out there and put on a hell of a performance, especially all things considered. And yeah, did she kind of drop that last round? Yes. But again, were there substantial reasons as to why? Yes, there were, I would say. Giuliano, kick me off the stool, man. What were your thoughts on this women's strawweight fight?
Yeah, man. I mean, Pulaski really took advantage of the fact that Godinez had to take a shit in the last round. It was she was stalking her down like really hard with like a big fucking smart ass smirk on her face. Like, I mean, you know, but that being said, Godinez dominated I'm surprised that, you know, not even a single judge gave her a 10-8 round for this. I think it was the second where she just just fucking like thrashed her to the ground like fucking Evloev, like, you know. I mean, he's clearly the better fighter. I mean, and honestly, coming off that, I don't know, you know, it's like, why wouldn't you give her a shot at the rankings? Give her Angela Hill or somebody like that, you know? I mean, Godinez has been good for a while. I mean, yeah, ups and downs, but like, you know, I mean, probably maybe your best performance in the UFC, at least, you know.
I actually would agree with that. I would definitely say it was at least top 2 performances in the UFC for her. And shout out Jax at Making the Walk. How are you doing, my friend? Hope you're having a blessed night. What's good, chat? What's good with you, my friend? What were your thoughts on this Loopy Godinez fight? Sorry, that's the last time I'm going to say that. I won't say it again. What were your thoughts on this Loopy Godinez versus Julia Pilastri fight? And while you let us know in the chat, Nano, let us know in the video.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I mean, Loopy was out there doing what Loopy does best. Okay, she was absolutely mad dogging her opponent. She definitely had a size and physicality advantage in there. You can just tell when they're squaring off. Like, she's a big, strong, muscular woman. And, Julia did the best she could. She was fighting her off, but she really didn't have an answer for the prowess when it comes to the wrestling. 2 for 2 in the first round for Loopy. 2 out of 3 in that second round. Pretty much tit for tat when it comes to the striking. Then they really poured it on that last round, the third round, landing over 60 strikes, with a total of over 100 from each of them. It was fun, you know. I mean, it was a dominant win in my opinion. I probably would have gave it a 30-27, or there might have been a 10-8 in my opinion. And Giuliano kind of mentioned that as well. Certainly close to it, right? I mean, know, they're close to the vest with those 10-8s unless there's like some knockdowns or different things. But it was a clear victory. Like, and for someone like Giulia, you know, she had a lot to prove. She wasn't ranked, so this was her chance to really go up and do something. But Loopy ain't the one. Okay, it was not her night. And I think you reward Loopy by giving her someone maybe in that top 10. I mean, she's sitting at 11 so far. I don't know if they're going to change at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just looked at the rankings. I mean, Marina Rodriguez, Yasmin Lucindo, honestly, like, you know, like that. Yeah, I mean, that seems like the next fight for her.
I like Yasmin. Yeah, she already beat Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci, so you got to leapfrog her. Yeah. Marina, Yasmin, I mean, Amanda Hivas, when's she going to get back out there? She's coming off a loss as well, so a lot of names make sense. I don't know if you know, MMAnomaly or anyone else has anyone else to mention there.
I like Marina Rodriguez. That's who I had written down. I think that'd be a fun fight for both ladies.
I mean, yeah, a good fight. It would force Marina Rodriguez to be, you know, to not be able to point fight for sure. I mean,
she'd have to bring it against somebody like Loopy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Loopy would bring that out of her.
Or it's just get broken, yeah.
She's very much like I feel like Rodriguez is very much like John Jones in the fact that she fights to the level of her opponent. Like we've seen that very often with John Jones in the fact where like if he fights a flat opponent, he's very flat. If he fights someone that's dangerous, it's neutralize them as quick as effing possible, man.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, of all fights to bring that up, but like, yeah, honestly, it's like I've been saying
I know it's a wild stretch to compare Rodriguez to John Jones, but just in that factor.
I mean, like very brief tangent, really quick. I've been saying this a lot, like when people like, you know, like, because look, like I'm not saying Jones beats Aspinall, but like people who act like Jones is gonna be free eats for Tom Aspinall don't have any idea what they're talking about. You know,
it's gonna be the hardest Jones has trained in years because he knows that Aspinall is a threat.
Definitely. But it's like, you know, it's like you look at Jones against like, you know, Anthony Smith or against Vince St. Preux, and it's like, you know, it's like he's like, all right, like there's no way this guy beats me. Let me just win this fight. Yeah, and it's like a lot of people don't understand that. It's like they don't understand the fact that like, yeah, he's not throwing everything he has into finishing Stipe as fast as possible. Whereas against Aspinall, you know, he's gonna keep him at range and do the best he can to not let the dude fucking just like explode into, you know. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm happy you said that because like, you know, it's a point I've tried to make about Aspinall Jones a lot. And you know, but you know, you got a lot of people that just like hate John Jones and they can't get over that.
I hate John Jones. I trained at AKA for years. I've met DC. I met him when he was training for the Jones fight. I loathe John Jones. But again, I'll call a spade all day, bro. Like in spite of hating someone, if someone is amazing, I will say, hey, I don't like him, but he's really great at what he does. Like, and John Jones is really fucking great at what he does. Doesn't matter. Like, in my opinion, I don't know. That's one of my beefs with MMA is like when people don't like a fighter, they call him boring or they call him lame. Like,
I can't stand
miss me with that, bro.
Like,
I hate that narrative.
Press conference. That's why it's like, you know, it's like I'm never gonna watch the Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell press conference. It's like, why? It's like, what am I gonna watch this for? So I get, you know. Because what that's going to lead to is going to lead to people betting on Bryce Mitchell. And Bryce Mitchell is going to lose that fight. I mean, you know, sorry.
It's highly probable. It's highly probable that he's going to lose that fight. But I will be taping my glasses up for that episode. Yeah, let's go ahead and move into this next fight because it was a banger. And it was another one that I was right about on my dogs. If memory serves me correct, I think I may have had this guy as my dog of the week. So Melqy Zael Costa coming in against Christian CROD Rodriguez in the featherweight division. This one was one hell of a fight. My goodness, it was one hell of a fight. Giuliano, we'll let you take the lead on this one, bud.
Sure. Yeah. So I got 2 fights wrong on this card, right? And I feel like
did I just make you take the lead on one of 2?
What? Yeah.
Damn.
And,
I'm sorry.
I'm happy to. No. You're good. So yeah, this fight was like, I mean, you know, I knew, you know, people are talking about, you know, a submission either way and things like that. It's like, you know, prop bets are kind of, you know, stupid a lot of the time. But like, you know, it's, I mean, obviously there's not going to be a submission because both of them are really good grapplers. So, you know, there's going to be one's going to know how to defend against the other. I thought that Rodriguez, honestly, like he was a little bit too cautious. And honestly, that probably lost him the fight. If I'm gonna be honest, like, he may have underestimated Costa's striking. Which is all you had to do is watch fucking the Andre Fili fight from like a month ago. I feel like he felt like he was just gonna neutralize this dude, take him down, and and everything. And Costa just he's just like cut above how what Rodriguez had prepared for, and he adjusted, but like at the end of the day, it's like Christian Rodriguez, like he doesn't. He's a guy that seems to not be able to really deviate from a game plan very effectively. Or at least not quick enough to turn the direction of a fight. He got lucky, and Isaac Togaryn got robbed, in that fight, I thought, but no such luck for him or me actually. And Costa was really impressive actually. He sees an opening for a submission, and in a split second he'll find it. I mean, like the Andre Fili fight was, it was crazy. That was a very, very hard fight to predict, but I didn't see Costa, getting that type of finish that quickly. And, as soon as you see that, then it's like, all right, shit, Christian Rodriguez he's gonna be on the defensive a lot,
That made a believer out of a lot of people, that performance against Philly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do you not, right? I mean, this guy Melqy, man, he's a big boy. He's a big boy for the division. He wears his weight and size well, and he uses that length to his advantage. And like Giuliano was saying, I mean, he's really opportunistic on the ground as well. Like C-Rod obviously had a game plan, didn't deviate from it, wanted to try to wrestle. And once that really wasn't working, or Melqy would slippery and reversal his way out, or just maybe just use in an explosion, like an athletic explosion out of there, whatever it was. It just C-Rod didn't have another answer, right? There was nothing else he could really do when it came to the striking, the X's and O's. I mean, Melqy's slick, man. I mean, he's really, really clean with everything he does. And again, I just was kind of surprised with how big he looked. I mean, Andre Touchy-Feely's pretty big as well. But when him and C-Rod were in there, I thought, okay, he's not able to get the wrestling advantage on him. Doesn't want to sit here and strike with them. And Melqy's just one of those violent guys. We knew that coming in as well. Dude just wants to go out and then beat your ass. Not a lot of guys go out. He's not a martial artist. He's a fucking fighter. He wants to go out there and hurt you. So I don't know what's next for him, but I don't want to necessarily say top 20. I don't want to say top 15, but I would say top 20. I would say somewhere in that top 20 range. I'm looking at my boy. He's on a win streak here. This would pay me to say it, because I don't necessarily love the matchup, but I'm looking at a Steve Garcia.
Steve Garcia! I'm not mad at that. And I'll jump into my breakdown before we give names here. Look, dude, I was very high on Melqy Costa coming in here and getting it done. You heard me last week, right? We laid down the gauntlet on it. Nano has a drive to do tonight, so he will not be doing shots tonight. That'll roll over to next week or next episode. So with that being said, look, Melqy was an absolute stud out there. The grappling was on point, the striking even more so. He outlanded his opponent 2-1 on striking here. 77 to 159 on total strikes landed. Only one more on the significant strike output, though, 65 to 64. When C-Rod lands, he just simply lands very hard, right? Melqy, as Nano said, is not going out there to get into a point fight. He's not going out there to grapple or have a mixed martial arts fight. He's trying to fight, and it shows when he's fighting, right? C-Rod, very technically sound, but even with 6 of 15 takedowns landing, could not just establish any real control time over Melqy, and that's ultimately what the reasoning for Melqy's win is here. With 6 takedowns, he got less control time than Melqy, and that's because every time he would get top position, Melqy was so slick with the jits on the bottom, man. The sweeps were in full effect. As a guy who, when I say I hate jiu-jitsu, I mean from a training standpoint. I'm a Muay Thai guy, big Muay Thai guy. Love to strike. But, I love to strike, right? But when it comes to watching it, I respect jiu-jitsu, I respect grappling, and I understand it. And let me tell you, every time Melqy would get that leg on the outside and plant that base of his foot, I was like, he's gonna sweep, it's coming. And he'd hit that sweep so easy. Like, I don't want to say easily, but with all due respect, he made a couple of those sweeps look way too easy on someone like CROD. People don't do that to CROD. We see CROD do that to people. So very, very impressive and dominant performance. Sorry, what was that, Giuliano?
Oh, I just said unless you're Giuliano Rosa. I think
Juicy J, we bet on. We hit on that. Was that like last year or year before? We hit on that Juicy J one. No, you were. I think you were against me in that one. but you still followed me. Oh, Juicy J he's a bit of an MMA anomaly himself. Like, let's be honest here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, he is and he isn't. But like, you know, to be honest, okay, so like, I mean, it's like who's supposed to get next? I mean, you know, you could give him, you could give him a shot at the rankings. I mean, these back-to-back wins, including the finish he got on Feely. I mean, who else got an early finish on Feely is Dan Ige. So, you know, you put Coast against Dan Ige. Dan Ige is very good at stopping, definitely stopping takedowns, definitely stopping submission attempts, and, and he's got power in his hands for sure. The Bryce Mitchell fight with Dan Ige, like, went to a decision, but Bryce Mitchell, he managed to use the grappling to kind of stop Ige from landing. But Ige was very good defensively. It's like if Costa could bypass that, and I think that's actually a more interesting fight than just put him against Giuliano Rosa, who also beats CROD. I feel like a lot of it's like sometimes the natural progression.
Real quick, shout out to Sav Jelly in the chat. She makes these custom fighter dolls. She hand makes them, hand crochets them, and she made this after the fight for Melqy Zael Costa. So, folks, you can pick these up on her store. It is at Sav Jelly on Instagram. She actually has one sitting right in front of Ariel Helwani's desktop or laptop of Tommy Aspinall. So, folks, high quality stuff. She hand makes every single one of them herself. If you want one of these, again, at Sav Jelly on Instagram, check her out. She's an absolute legend. And I speak very highly of her because I had the chance of meeting her in person. We went to UFC 313 together out in Vegas. So, it was sick. It was her birthday. She's been coming to the chat for a while, and I'm a big fan of her. She's a big fan of us.
Was she on your show?
Yeah, I think the first time you actually joined. Yeah, it was me, my significant other, her, and Nano was even there.
That's cool. Yeah,
Nano was even
there. So you guys went to so you guys you're in California. You're in
California, UK. Arizona, and she's out in Texas.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Which is dope because I have family out in that area. So
nice.
We out here.
Yeah. You're down in San Diego,
right? Yeah. I'm out in San Diego.
Yeah, I'm in LA, and Arizona.
Nano back on the juice boxes tonight. Yeah.
On that Mexican soda. Shout out Squirt. Come on.
Squirt, brother. That's when I was at your bachelor party. That's all I drank was Squirt and tequila, I think, or Squirt.
Oh gosh, yeah, sounds about right.
When I found a bar that had whiskey, we were in such good shape because your boy's not big on tequila. Oh, but we made it work.
You didn't drink any tequila for the Mexican card, bro?
No. I drank a lot of tequila while we were in Mexico. I had tequila poured down my throat at this guy's wedding. And whiskey. It was a great time. Nice. One of the better times in life. So, man, dude, Melqy Zael again. He put on an absolute just beast of a fight, right? What about Calvin Kattar coming off of 4 back-to-back losses?
Calvin Kattar's never impressed me ever.
Tell us how you really feel though, Giuliano.
I mean, what's the point of being soft on people? You know what I'm saying? You remember Max Holloway fucking dodging his everything.
I'm the best boxer in the UFC.
Best boxer in the
Not
UFC,
even looking at him. Yeah,
dude, how
if you don't remember that, you haven't been watching UFC long enough.
Yeah. I mean, now imagine being on the wrong end of such like an iconic fucking thing. Like, I mean, that's it's Calvin Kattar. I mean, he's had, I don't know. I mean, but I mean, Costa beats Calvin Kattar easily. Like, so it's like, I mean, is it more important? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Ige is 15th, Kattar's 14th. Like, I mean, is the most important thing to get Costa into the rankings, or it's like, do you want to see like a fight?
But Ige has a fight scheduled against Sean Woodson.
Oh, you're right, he does. All right, fuck it. Yeah, give him Calvin Kattar then.
Sorry, I originally wrote down Ige and I literally scratched it off because he has. I looked it up. He has a fight scheduled against Woodson.
Yeah. That's on. Fuck me. That's on 314. Yeah. I forgot that.
That's a good fucking fight. That's a really good fight.
That's a really good fight.
Unfortunately, we are big fans of both of those guys, so that will probably be a fight that we stay away from a betting perspective. Or maybe we just lean heavy into it because we like both so much. It's no emotion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sad.
I like Woodson in that one. If I'm being like off the bat, I like Woodson.
I mean, I would say probably Woodson. I mean, Danny Ige though, he almost beat Lerone. He almost beat Lerone Murphy probably. Like,
almost.
Yeah, I mean,
Lerone still has growing to do for sure, but he's so good.
Yeah. I mean, I think next weekend I think he fucks up Josh Emmett. If I'm gonna be honest. The way that he his kicks against Edson Barbosa, like the shots to the body, like Josh Emmett. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna
real quick.
Josh
Sorry,
Emmett.
In the chat, Klaus, what a trio! Always great to see Giuliano. I agree, he's a good dude. Is it squirt made in Arizona? Wait, no. Is that are you getting it from the factory, my guy?
Boss, the boss with the great comment. I did Google it while you guys were looking up there. So although it is now made in Mexico, originally Squirt was created by Herb Bishop in Phoenix, Arizona, 1938.
So
I'm representing both my people. I'm in Arizona.
Is what I'm hearing. I mean, but hey, that also does explain why the Squirt did taste better in Mexico. I mean, again, calling a spade here. They also kept pouring it in glass bottles, which I'm convinced makes things taste better. Ige is knocking Woodson out in the second. Man. I'm not mad at that, and that's a perfect segue for someone who didn't even last till the second. The next fight in the main event of the preliminary card here was a middleweight bout between Jose Medina and Ateba Gautier. Holy shit, I'm going to take the lead on this one, and I'm going to keep it as short as the fight because the fight wasn't that long, boys. It was about 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Let's all try and keep it at that one. It literally was only 28 strikes in for the man that they're now calling the middleweight Francis Ngannou. Do I think the name is warranted? No. Do I think it's a bit typecast? Yeah. I mean, he's strong. He's a knockout artist. He's intimidatingly fit. Oh, and he's also from Cameroon, where Francis Ngannou is from. So that all tracks, and it's just too easy of a nickname to dub someone, right? It's like calling Spider-Man the human spider or some shit. Like it's too easy, folks. Come on, use your imagination here. Let's give him a better nickname than that, because the man deserves it after what he went out there and did on Saturday. He dominated Jose Medina, Funky Co Medina, and again, he hit him with a crispy knee. The man just basically walked onto it. It was nice stuff. I'm not mad at it. We all had Ateba Gautier here. We thought that the man was going to come in here on a tear. Did we bet on it? Not a chance in hell, because it was a bit volatile, him not having any actual showing in the UFC just yet. So yeah. We did not bet on Ateba, but we definitely knew he was going to win. So it was an easy one to bet on. I'm assuming Giuliano probably had him as one of his locks of the week, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Had a feeling.
I did. I mean, I was hoping to God that it wouldn't be another Musasa situation. Because like you always got to be careful when it's somebody debuting in the octagon, coming off the Contender Series, no matter how good they've looked, because like you look back at most of, even with Gautier, like his he was all 0-1, 0-2 opponents until the Contender Series. So but then like so it's like my whole sort of metric was like Zachary Reese fought Jose Daniel Medina. And, he basically shoved him around the octagon the whole time. But Medina is very durable, didn't finish him. So it's like, all right. So it's like, if Zachary Reese fought Gautier, right? You try to see things in your head, like, like that. And, there was no way that Medina had anything for Gautier. Like, absolutely nothing. Like not any kind of grappler really, like no, so yeah, and honestly, the truth about a few fights on this card was like, it's like, my security in picking one person had a lot more or had as much to do with their opponent's lack of ability as as them being good. But that being said, yeah, Gautier, that finish was sick. I didn't necessarily expect like him to be that powerful and also he's one of those fighters that probably is going to improve with each fight, kind of like a Navajo Sterling who his debut didn't look like his Contender Series fight, but I guarantee you his next fight looks a lot better. The first fight in the octagon is always like this rite of passage. A lot of people have been, Pavlovich got knocked out in his first fight. Merab early on, Islam, and then went on to be very dominant. But yeah, two prospects debuting on this card, and both of them did really well. Which is like, honestly, it's like other than Kevin Vallejos, like who else is really debuted? I guess Jacoby Smith too, earlier this year. But yeah, no, Gautier looked great. I'd like to say, honestly, like a good next fight for him might be Zachary Reese or like, who else? Like, maybe he needs to build like a few, give him Cedric Dumas or like, somebody,
Ooh.
or somebody like
Someone
that.
that range. Yeah, I do like that, brother. I like that. That's a solid breakdown. Some good takes there, and I would agree. My 2 cents is that Ateba looked the part and he backed it up. Like he walked the walk, he talked the talk, and he went out there and he threw fisticuffs and he whooped some ass. I give his opponent credit for asking for some more and egging him on. He got what he asked for, and he got a knee to the mouth and shut him up real quick there. Unfortunately, another Mexican down. So I'm gonna drink some of my squirt here in misery. But no, this guy's no joke. He's exactly what we all think he is. But we got to see him get tested now. And if you look at the division, the landscape itself, there's a lot of people that already have dance partners. There's a lot of people that already have fights coming up. So maybe you do put him in against another kind of young up-and-comer. I know MMAnomaly doesn't usually like this, throw 2 young up-and-coming prospects in there against each other, but I like it, man. And not that this guy's necessarily young. He's a little bit older. He's coming in here. He's actually 37 years old. But I'm talking about a Cesar Cecina Almeida. Someone that comes in with some heavy power, can maybe rival what Ateba does best, but that might be the range I'm looking at.
You think he's ready for Almeida?
Man, maybe.
Cesar, you saw what Almeida did to Al Hassan in January?
He's nice with it. He's got some nice striking. That would be probably would not get out of the first round. Maybe. And again, there's so many names of people that are already fighting each other. Nursultan, Ruzo Boyev.
I'll just DM me that they're giving Costa to Roman Kopylov, which I love that. I think Almeida,
breaking news. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Almeida might be ready for a shot at the rankings. I think Ateba's probably got a couple more fights, before.
Yeah. So maybe like your
what,
boy Eric Anders or
dude, what about
Edmund Shabazian?
I was gonna say fucking shut up so I can speak. I was gonna say Edmund Shabazian, you dick.
Yeah, that's
you gotta jump in, baby. You gotta jump in now. You gotta jump in there. Don't be timid.
I was literally waiting for you to stop so I could throw in that name.
I appreciate it. I apologize.
You were saying the whole 2 rising stars, and I'm like, bro, what about like a former rising star that we thought might be it versus the guy that's now the new rising star? You know what I'm saying? That's so fair. Edmund Shabazian, the golden boy, or as we say, the guy that we thought could be the golden boy, right? He's literally had a win-loss kind of situation here for his last 7.
Good finish on him this fight, though.
Oh, absolutely. I think the kid is extremely talented.
Such a fun finish.
Extremely talented. But again, at the same time, it's hard to bet against Edmund Shabazian in that one, if I'm being honest, because he has the experience.
Real quick, don't musicals in here fucking give me shit. Like, don't listen to him. He's he's a doddering old man.
No. He just told me that the middle fella had too high of a mic.
My bad.
I already reduced it.
Dude, he's fucking with you. Don't listen to him. Seriously, musicals. He's struggling with obesity, and
Okay, all right, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
Dude, musical and I are tight. He likes to bust balls, but
okay, all right. If it's a friendly bullshit, then you guys.
No, No, I mean, I'm just saying, Don't listen to anything he says. He's he's a really good guy.
Why would UFC do that to Edmund? Oh, did you change your picture, Big Onk?
I think he did.
That's a good one. Why would UFC do that to Edmund? You're right. But at the same time, come on. Why not? Why not, bro? They're gonna build him up. They're trying to build this guy up. So with that being said, we got to move into the main card, folks. We got to get through these fights. And there are some definite good fights here. We had a flyweight bout between Ronaldo Rodriguez and Gavin Borjas. What a fucked up fight for all the people who had parlays, for all the people who had even straight bets. But I mean, it should have been a slight telltale sign when the man missed weight and looked the way he looked on the scale. But at the same time, that doesn't make up for the fact that it wasn't even a skill deficit. It was a fight IQ deficit in this fight. Nano, what do you got, brother?
Hey, man, what I got is what I got, okay? And it's this. This is one of my favorite fights of the card, if I'm being honest. It reminded me why I like watching these fly guys go out there, swing and bang. It was nothing but violence, okay? And now we shouldn't probably not have put so much stake in our boy Lazy Boy, especially after he missed weight. Definitely unfortunate. And just a good friendly reminder that this guy, Kevin Borjas, representing Peru, is an absolute dog. He's a savage. He fucking bit down on his mouthpiece, stood in front of Ronaldo. And right in that first round when he dropped him, it did kind of give me flashbacks to O'Day, laying some hack on him as well on UFC Noche way back when. So as much as I do love Ronaldo and his tactics, and I guess not tactics, but more so the antics outside of the octagon and the violence he goes in there with, Homo gets caught. He gets caught, man. A little too much for my liking. And Kevin Borjas came in, was focused, tough as nails. And like Big Onks mentioning here in the chat, absolutely great comment. And I'll leave my, I'll end my rant there. But Borjas' losses are to Van and Costa. Definitely aging like a George Clooney-esque, fine wine here. So he's that good. I think he is in that realm, for being honest.
And with that being said, I'll go ahead and jump in here. Look, Nano can't drink tonight because he's about to drive to the airport. This is the only one that we actually did bet on with a shot that we significantly fucked up and got wrong. So, folks, we always say a bet made, a debt paid. Cheers if you drink, raise one up. If not, raise up a squirt or a glass of water or a cigarette or whatever it is that you do. Either way, folks, we appreciate you. Cheers. Make sure you hit that like, comment, subscribe.
And this is for Loopy Godinez as well.
What the fuck kind of joke was that, Nano? Come on. Squirt for Poopy Loopy? That ain't nice.
No, I was gonna say for Drew's over and his family. I hope I hope he's able to live a relatively normal life after the After the
Hope he
brain
knows.
flying.
Yeah, where's left and right after that one? That was tough.
That was a tough one. But this Ronaldo Rodriguez fight, man.
Yeah.
Look, it was a nice fight. If you were a Kevin Borjas fan, right? The way he came out there, it's funny. As they were walking out, I knew mistakes had been made as far as the parlays go, because Ronaldo Rodriguez did not have the usual swagger, the usual, like, he was smiling, but it didn't seem.
He had it, but yeah.
It wasn't normal though. It wasn't his normal like uptick. Like it almost seemed forced for me. And then his opponent comes out, and as soon as they lock eyes from across the octagon, and like, dude, you can ask Nano. Literally, the first year we went to International Fight Week, all month, I have been saying Robert Whittaker is going to go out there and probably put a veteran masterclass on Dricus du Plessis. And then as du Plessis is walking out of the tunnel, I looked at him and I was like, all right, we're going to put a couple hundred on Dricus du Plessis. And it was a fantastic night for the Ducks. So literally, as I saw these guys look at each other from across the octagon, I was like, son of a bitch. Kevin Borjas is about to ruin a lot of people's nights right now. And he did. And the worst thing about it is, and I say this with all due respect to all the actual Kevin Borjas fans, and I like Kevin Borjas just fine. I think he's a great fighter. But I do think Ronaldo Rodriguez is a better fighter. And I think he went out there and he fought a silly fight. He was throwing these spinning back kicks. He was trying to make it look cute. He was trying to make it look cool. Look behind Nano. I love Bruce Lee. I've got Bruce Lee's The Tao of Jeet Kune Do sitting underneath my fucking coffee table. It's one of my favorite like things I've read. It's so cool. But he was doing that shit, right? He was trying to make it look like a movie. He was trying to make it look really cool and cutesy. And his opponent was throwing crisp 1-2-3s, 1-2-3-4s. Like, he was doing fundamentally sound, like, I don't want to say easy shit, but smart shit. And it landed every single time he did it. Like, you can go back and watch us reacting to this fight on the live watch along. It was literally the first fight we reacted to live. And I was saying this same exact thing. I was like, oh my God, this is not good. He needs to stop throwing spinning shit. It's not working for him. And most of the time when he's throwing it, his opponent's already out of range because he sees him start to set it up and telegraph it from a mile away. I used to love when people would do this in sparring when I was training at AKA. I would just like whip my leg into theirs so quick and just watch them fall sideways. And like, not to hurt them, because it doesn't hurt, but they'd fall and then they'd feel really silly. And they'd be like, well, darn, I don't want to ever have that happen again. Like, we were teaching each other. That's what you do in sparring, but not inside the octagon on fight night.
Yeah.
That was tough. He should have worked those kinks out a long time ago. He's young, but he's not that young, right, Giuliano?
So, okay. So here's the thing. I like you said, Borjas ruined a lot of people's fights. Actually, Rodriguez did, like, and I mean, look, like,
right, you are.
He comes into this fight with like the sort of like attitude and like, like whole, like, like a rapper who hits big, like really young, and then gets shot and killed when he's like 21. It just comes out hot, like complete underestimation of his opponent. Misses weight because he doesn't, because he thinks it's free eats. Kevin Borjas is basically a boxer, honestly. But, he's Rodriguez just off the entire time. I mean, he threw a wheel kick that Borjas closed the distance on to the point where he just like literally just pushed him over. And I think that was the second round. I mean, he didn't, he's just playing to the crowd. Like, it's not like a Harlem Globetrotters game. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's treated it like an exhibition fight a little bit. And like, like, there's no way this guy beats me. And it's like, there's no way he beats you if just be a kickboxer versus a boxer. But, he couldn't handle that. Like, that honestly, it's like, that's one of those situations where it's like, the kid, he's a kid. He got a lot of adoration after the Sphere card fight, which I felt honestly like his performance was good, but it was a little bit overrated. And that, I kind of disagree with what you're saying about things being forced or him not feeling it. I think he felt himself way too much, honestly. and like, and he paid for it. Like, yeah, I mean, he didn't realize he was just losing the fight really until basically until the third round. And
no,
then,
I said he was feeling himself like it was felt forced walking into the octagon, like inside of the octagon. Yeah. I think he truly thought he was winning that fight. Otherwise, he probably would have been throwing such silly things.
I think he just, it didn't dawn on him till the third round. They're like, he's like, oh shit, I'm down.
I need a finish.
Yeah, and then he got like spastic and starts just trying everything he could think of. Poorly timed wheel kicks and
it's like playing the video game. He was just hitting all the buttons.
Yeah, and Borjas is limited, honestly. I mean, he definitely is like limited to boxing. I don't think that's changed. I didn't see anything that makes me think otherwise in this fight. But he's very technical and he attacks and he's very fast. And like he was just dialed in, just dialed in fighting and Ronaldo Rodriguez is doing cartwheels and fucking basically like. I mean, he basically showed up to lose, and he kind of fucked everyone over. But regardless, like, I mean, Borjas looked good. I just, I mean, like I was saying before, it's like there are fights where it's like, to like one person's terrible performance. It's more about that than it is about the other person's display of skill.
Hold on. Blanca said Kevin Borjas said that Ladyboy was going to have nightmares about him and he fulfilled his promise. Is that a real quote?
I mean, the thing about that is like that I'm sure that's a real quote, but like, what fighter's not going to say some shit like that, right? Wild. I mean, that's something that, that's something that you're going to say, right? Going into a fight, right? And of course, you're gonna call him a lady boy because he's all like celebritied up and everything locally, at least.
Shout out to Blanca real quick. Shout out Chile. Shout out Blanca. Shout out Big Onk MMA. Shout out Capitan Rafucho. Capitan Raf.
Oh, yo, Rafucho's in the chat. Holy shit.
All the folks around here right now.
Yeah, he came on that Rising stream that we did, after UFC.
Oh, Raf, nice. Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
We've definitely chatted quite a bit. All right. So with that being said, guys, Kevin Borjas went out here and put on arguably a masterclass in fundamentals against someone who was doing a little bit too much flashy shit. Nano, we got to hear your breakdown, and then let's give some names.
Oh, here we go. I'm back.
Did he hit the double mute? It happens to this kid.
I think I did hit the double mute there. Oh, my gosh. But yeah, man, I mean, and we're talking about who's next for Mr. Borjas.
Have you already done your breakdown on the fight?
I think I did, yeah. At least my 2 cents real quick.
Oh, no, yeah. No,
I let it off.
You in second, yes. Then, all right. Who you got next?
Oh, man. It's a tough one, right? Because you would think that Lazy Boy was going to be getting more steam and maybe take that next step up in competition. But obviously after that, you probably got to give the nod to Borjas now, who, again, was willing to take this fight, went out there, took care of business. I don't know if this is too high, but I like someone like a Clayton Carpenter. He's based out of here in Arizona. But if you want to maybe go someone that's coming off a win, and he just fought recently, I do like that kind of approach. Maybe a Loner Kavanaugh, someone that just fought coming off a big win. Him and Kevin could go out there and make some fireworks happen. But
that'd be a fun fight, bro. That'd be a really fun fight.
Anyone else? Any names top of mind?
Giuliano, you got somebody?
Too.
Yeah. I was gonna
Big
say.
Onk said Edgar versus Borjas. Ooh wee.
I mean that. Yeah.
In Mexico in September. That could be a banger, boys. That could be a banger.
You could definitely do that. I was gonna say maybe like Felipe Bunez.
That's
coming
not a
off
bad pick
the
either.
Jose Johnson win. That's another one where I mean, that guy, he can be unpredictable, unreliable, however you want to put it, but he can grapple too, and Borjas is a boxer. I think a stylistic mismatch would be a good next fight for him, because that, like I said, it's like, it's like, all right, like, is this guy, is he ready, is he ready to stay in the UFC like that, Is
he ready to step up on that level? I I like that. I'm not mad at that name. The name that I had written down, and I honestly had this name written down for both guys. Like, if they want to give this guy to the winner of this fight or the loser of this fight, I'd be down to see him fight Kevin Borjas or Ronaldo Rodriguez. Give me a Tim Elliott coming off of that submission win in round number 1 over Suwaderji.
I almost said Tim Elliott.
Let's go.
I mean,
Tim Elliott is such a freak inside of the octagon. He's so fun.
He's ranked though now. Still,
is he still ranked in flyweight?
Yes.
No way.
Maybe not. I mean, you know, I mean.
Oh no, he's still number 11. That's why.
Yeah. I was about to say that's like. I mean, that's a gift.
That's a vast jump up. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Man, but at the same time, you beat the golden goose of the flyweight. Fuck it, bro.
Yeah.
And when's the last time Tim Elliott fought? Last time he fought was 2023. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
He's sitting on number 11.
I think Chairez deserves him more than Borjas, but you know, I guess we'll get there, right?
We will get there, and I'm not going to disagree with you. But before we get to that, we got to talk about this bantamweight bout, boys, between David Martinez. Sorry, let me correct myself real quick. Dr. David Martinez, right? Because the man is a freaking surgeon, right? Versus Simon Oliveira. Now, if you watch Simon Oliveira hitting the pads and you're a Muay Thai fan, you may have been tempted to fall for the trap, right? You may have been tempted to bet on him. But there's a reason we didn't tell you to do that. Okay. Dr. David is the freaking truth. If you watch Combacha Global, you would have probably already known that. So look, this is just an absolute beast. If you've ever played Cyberpunk, or rather if you've watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix, David Martinez, deep cut. If you know, you know. If not, that's fine. We'll move on. Look, this man went out there and put a masterclass on his opponent for 4 minutes and 38 seconds. For as long as it lasted, he dominated this fight. He made Oliveira look like he didn't belong in there with him. He just looked, honestly, large and strong and dominant. It felt like King Kong versus a human. It was bad news bears for the human. The human was Simon Oliveira, folks. He just got smashed. The opponent walked him down, hit him with nasty shots, just down the pipe, up the line. He was making the reads. Like, he wasn't rushing anything. 28 of 42 strikes. Just in case you're bad at math, that is over a 66% clip, folks. That's fucking wild. And he's a doctor. I don't know if you heard that part. So, folks, if you're a nurse that works with this guy, he's a doctor and he can fight. He's a great catch. David Martinez is a great catch for not only the ladies he works with, but also for the UFC, because this man has star potential written all over him. I genuinely can't wait to see what's next for him. I'm not going to throw any names out until you boys get to do your breakdowns, but we'll go ahead and jump into that right now. Giuliano, what you got for us?
Yeah. So he was the other prospect coming off the Contender Series, you know. And it's like, you know, is this gonna be another Cody Steele? You know, then I started, you know, I watched some tape. Simon Oliveira's ape index is pretty crazy, but he's just cash. Like, you know, and you know, I could not justify
real quick, Juice Man said Loopy was sick and pulled through. Yeah, no, she literally said on Helwani today that she was sick before the fight. She had chills before she even walked out because she also got sick. And she described the same symptoms of basically food poisoning that Joe Pyfer had. But she's like, you know what? I put home for my city, home for my city.
Yeah.
And she went out there and did it.
I mean, she is Mexican. I mean, she should know better than to, you know, eat or drink whatever she ate or drank. I mean, Piper, it's like, I mean,
I was so careful in Mexico. I was so careful.
Bro, I was in, yeah, dude, I've been to Tijuana twice.
Only bottled water.
Just, I mean, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, of course. And then, you know, but also just like, you know, it's like even in restaurants, like, you know, you gotta be careful, like what it's cooked with and everything. But anyway, yeah, so Martinez though, yeah, man, dude, the knees from him were like, I mean, yeah, man, I mean, you know, I mean, Oliveira was like, I mean, he was helpless, bro. It was really, I mean, that was it couldn't have gone better. I mean, it's like almost like, what else is there to say? I mean, he did exactly what's, somebody in that position is supposed to do to fucking kick their career off. Yeah. Yeah. And it made me think that, he's probably, you could give him to somebody. I mean, you could honestly, like, I'd like to see him fight like a Karen Simon, honestly. Yeah, like I think you could,
South Africa zone.
It's a good range.
I think occasionally, like, it's not, it's worth it to kind of fast track somebody. And like, I think he, he looks to be very instinctually sound as well. And I did watch like some tape on him, some of his regional stuff. I mean, I mean, you wouldn't know it just because of how fast he wound up finishing.
Simon is currently scheduled against Malcolm Wellmaker on April 26th. Good looking out, Unc.
Okay. Oh, all right. So, all right, Cameron Simon. Give him Peyton Talbot.
Oh.
Yeah. Go fucking take a chance. Give him Peyton Talbot. Why not?
I don't like that. I don't like that fight because Nato literally just went through this. You got two rising stars. One of them's already suffered a little bit of I'm going to dampen your star. The last thing you want to do is put him against another guy that could just spark him.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But I mean, the thing is, like, it's like that mentality is like, when people are like, oh, like Jose Aldo's a legend, he deserves it. But if he's a legend, then like, let's see him test it.
So look, I'm with you on, does it make sense from a competitive standpoint? Yes. But I also know, like, I work in corporate marketing when I'm not doing this for fun. So I know UFC is a corporate marketing machine. From a corporate marketing standpoint, I'm putting him against the Mongolian knight Atengali, who's coming off of a decision win, and I know he can probably spark. Or I'm going to put him against somebody like I don't know, maybe Brady Highstand, right? Because Brady Highstand has built a fandom from his season of Tough. He's not a household name, but he has a slight demographic of fans, and he does need a fight. He also is sitting at 8-2, so they have almost identical records. I mean, it's like what, 4 fights off. So you're not going to find a much better matchup as far as kind of trajectory wise and record wise. The top name on my list is Brady Highstand.
I mean, honestly, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can make that argument. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think he trucks through Brady Highstand, but I
do too. But I think that's what UFC wants from a marketing standpoint. Right?
I see your logic. I think you go Highstand and then maybe Peyton Talbot.
That is the move. That's the move exactly.
Yeah.
I think he's one fight away from a Peyton Talbot fight, and then Peyton Talbot goes back to being in another Frank Ocean music video. Yeah.
Yeah, and stripping, and yeah. Do you
have any names on the tip of your tongue? Please cut us off.
I love it. That's a great conversation. But yeah, in terms of names for David Martinez, who looked the part, he looks tough. He fought tough. He got a big win. He's 26 years young still. I think in that top 50, you mentioned the Mongolian murder. That's a good range. You mentioned a Cameron Simon. I think we're not far off there, even though he already has a dance partner. If something happens, maybe always tap him on the shoulder. But even a Renya hybrid Nakamura, he's coming off a loss. Ooh. I typically like doing guys that are coming off wins, but
that's a good one. Bro,
that's a good ass name.
That's a good one. Yeah. I mean,
Nakamura's great.
There's like a Garrett Armfield or a Brady Highstand to like
Garrett
step
Armfield.
Over.
I'm going to be honest. Like we interviewed him on this show. He's a fantastic dude. And I honestly think that stylistically, he would make that a really, really nasty fight for David Martinez.
Bro, I can.
But I'm also a little bit biased.
I'm also a little bit biased. I can hear in your voice that because you interviewed him, you're gonna I'm
always gonna ride with Garrett Armfield, so I would not bet on that fight. And I also don't think. I don't know. Again, I don't think trajectory-wise that makes the most sense. I do like the Renya Nakamura fight a lot. I think if he goes out there and fights Renya Nakamura and wins, then he jumps to Giuliano's pick and fights a Peyton Talbot.
Well, I mean, is Nakamura really a stepping stone to Peyton Talbot? I mean, they both.
It depends on how he gets it done.
I feel like it's one or the other, and then the rankings, and so you got somebody in between, either Nakamura or Peyton Talbot. You know, whether it's Brady Highstand, whether it's like Cody Gibson or
Cody Gibson would be a fun matchup too.
Yeah. The size difference, I like that fight.
Style wise, I think that'd be fun. I think they'd match up nice.
Yeah, I mean, Cody Gibson would try to grab him and take him to the ground, and
he's a dog. He's hard to finish.
Brad Katona, actually, too.
Brad Katona.
That'd be a weird like.
Another tough alum. Yeah, I'm not mad at that one at all.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not mad at that one. All right, folks, let's move into the next bout. It is a bantamweight between Raul Rosas Jr. and Vince Morales. Folks, I mean, obviously, we were all riding the Rosas Jr. train, so it's tough to see him not go out there and get a finish, but he did go out there. I mean, he almost got finished. Absolutely. He got hurt.
Dude almost had a fucking heart attack.
Absolutely. He was
dying. Like,
he was dying, bro. He needs to work on his gas tank. He needs to work on his honest, his jiu-jitsu defense. He needs to work on. And he needs to work on his striking a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, yeah, all those things are true. I think what happened, though, in that fight was he was up 2-0, and he literally just
coasted.
Yeah, he forgot that he was fighting a dude who's capable of, seeing an opening.
But I think Big Onk makes the best point in probably the entire chat tonight. Raul is 20. Or sorry, no, it's Big Onk. Big Onk MMA.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know, but that's.
But I know it's Anakin.
Like, he changed his name to Big Onk.
I know it's Anakin, but I'm going to call him Big Onk. Look, man, the kid is 20 years old. He's 20 years old.
Yeah, and I mean, for a while
he has so long.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, I just think that, he, so it's always like, it's always dangerous when, you got somebody who's clearly up 2-0, because that the other, when it's so clear to their opponent that, like, if they, they need a finisher, it's over, right? And, I mean, I don't know if, Raul's corner, forgot to remind him of that. But, he, the third round, it's like the way to deal with that if you're Raul Rosas Jr. is to go in, even more aggressive into the third round. You defend by attacking in that situation. And, he did the exact opposite. And he almost fucking paid for it so hard. Yeah.
I completely agree. Nano, what you got?
Yeah, I agree here. I mean, it was another CHIWIWIS performance. I partially wanted to say CHIWIWIS or Chihuahua after a while because there were some close ones, man. But this is what happens, right? You can't just go out there and completely landslide victory over everybody you're going up against. The competition's getting more and more stiff. Even though he is only 20 years old, I mean, you're fighting grown men. I mean, it's different. I'm curious to know how long he's going to stay in this division. If his body doesn't change, if he gets too much muscle, he definitely has the rounded delts, and he's, only going to be getting bigger as he gets older. So if he's going to stay in this division, he's got to get better defense. He's got to get a little bit better with the striking. I want to see him be a little bit more smooth, in and out, more head movement. I mean, someone like a Brandon Moreno, you watch the way some of these guys move, and then you have the background in wrestling and your pedigree, you take it there. But I think even his first shot was almost from across the state, across the octagon, and it just wasn't that clean.
Across the state, he said.
I was going to say stage, I think. I don't know what that was. Across the state, across borders.
He started his shot for that takedown across the other end of Mexico City, folks.
Exactly. But what I would say is, I want to see him fight other young guys. That would be my thing here again, to kind of keep the trend with, do we have him face some veteran OG or someone in the top 15? That doesn't really tickle my fancy. But somebody that is young, maybe in their 20-somethings, right? I'm looking at someone that's a 25-year-old, ranked a little bit above him. You already mentioned Payne Talbot, so I'm not going to say him. But what about a Zhao Matsumoto? It's like all the fancy names today.
Zhao Matsumoto is a name that gets mentioned very often here whenever we're talking about matchups.
Yeah,
man. I'm not mad at
you. A man who was like, just egregiously robbed in his last fight, I felt. So yeah,
give him the cash payday against CHIWIWIS.
And it's like Raul Rosas Jr. It's like he's been floating outside the rankings for a while now, but it's just like this fight and actually his fight on the spear card were in. Is that are those shot at the rankings earnings performances? Nah, not really. It's like it's just like that. Not really, right? I mean. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, sometimes there's an obvious choice with matchmaking. And sometimes it's like, why not think like outside the box, like a Saeed Nurmagomedov,
I'm not mad at that either.
That's sick. I like that. I do like that as well.
I was thinking Montel Jackson. Either way, you're going to build one of them.
He's got a fight. He's got a fight coming up.
Oh, fuck, against Daniel Marcos. You're right.
Yeah, that's a fucking cracker.
That's a banger. That's a banger.
I don't know. I'm taking that.
That's a cracker of a fight. What about John Castaneda, Sexy Mexi? They could do that on the Mexico card.
Dude, I thought
been a minute. Haven't seen him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
2 canceled fights.
Yeah, canceled fight on 313, which I thought he was gonna win.
He had a canceled fight on 313, and he also had another canceled fight. So he had one canceled fight on March 1st and a canceled fight on March 8th for Douglas Silva de Andrade, and then for Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah, it's the same opponent. And they moved it back a week, and then it got canceled.
No, different opponent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of them. So the first week it was against Douglas Silva de Andrade. The second week it was against Chris Gutierrez. He would have won that Chris Gutierrez fight, I think. I wholeheartedly think that.
I had him winning.
The Douglas Silva de Andrade fight, I think he would have won, but I would have not bet on that. I would have stayed away from that like it's a damn landmine, bro.
I had him winning both. And
good for you. I'm still not betting on that first one.
dude, he almost beat Daniel Marcos.
I know. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But Douglas Silva de Andrade, like we have like avoidance picks for fighters, and it doesn't matter if we bet on or against Douglas Silva de Andrade. Like we don't bet on him, or on his fights.
Really?
He's like a weird dude. He always does what he's not supposed to do. So I feel like if he's supposed to lose that fight, he's gonna edge a split decision. Maybe he doesn't deserve.
He wouldn't be Raul Rosas, but I like Castaneda against Raul Rosas.
I agree. I don't think he'd beat Raul Rosas, but that's why I'm saying like John Castaneda against him would be a fun fight. Though.
Yeah, that's a good
Sexy
fight.
Mexi, and if you do that at Noche, that puts asses in seats, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Raul Rosas Jr. I don't think he actually took that much damage.
Gaffarov versus Raul isn't bad.
Yeah, Moon Gaffarov though is coming off a win that he wasn't supposed to get. I mean, he might deserve a shot at the rankings.
Ramon Tavares isn't bad either. I'm not mad at that one either, bro.
Ramon Tavares is trash.
Let Rosa sub Yanez Klaus. Come on, bro. We usually call you the boss, but we're not doing that off that, bro. Come on.
No, Klaus isn't wrong, dude. Yanez is very overrated in my opinion.
I know, but I don't want to see that happen to Yanez because I like Yanez.
Man, you guys and your emotions, Jesus.
I'm an emotional guy, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. Again,
that's fair.
At the very least, like worst case scenario, I'm going to be honest with you.
Me too. I'll be honest with you too. Yeah, Giannis gets subbed by Raul Rosas Jr.
I agree. That's why I don't want it. All right, no. Let's move into this next fight. I know you're on a timeline today. Flyweight, Edgar Chairez, CJ Vergara. I'll take the lead on this one. I'll keep it short and sweet. Edgar Chairez went out there, got a 2-minute and 30-second submission. It was absolutely beautiful work in this one, folks. I was supremely impressed by him. I thought he was going to go out there and get the win over CJ, but I didn't know that it was going to look so masterful from him. And then he goes on the mic and he delivers this extremely heartfelt, emotional speech. Like he made Fabiano cry, the translator, the GOAT of translators, for those of you that don't know. He made him cry, and this man has heard a number of people giving speeches, right? And he's translated a number of speeches, and he's not broken and given tears. But he literally said he felt the tears before he heard the words, and that made him cry. And that's a real thing, bro. Like you can feel emotion, like true emotion conveyed. And that's what was there. He was talking about his father and, a lack of money to pay for his treatments and things like that. And it's tough, man. It's a tough world. But I'll tell you what wasn't tough. That night for Edgar Chairez. He went out there and he got it done in impressive fashion via rear naked choke, sliced through the guard of CJ Vergara like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
Truly, he made it look like a white belt versus at the very least a brown belt. But I at the risk of possibly offending somebody like a CJ Vergara, I'm gonna say it looked like a white belt versus a black belt on the mats there.
Dude, CJ Vergara, oh my god, dude.
Edgar just looked nice.
Dude, it's it's hard to relate to running away from somebody in the octagon. I mean, but at least I understand.
Hey, he ran away, and what did he do though? Did he not win that fight?
No, I'm talking about CJ Vergara. He ran away from Temerov, which is like, I mean, Temerov's Temerov. He was, dude. He got rocked, and then he literally just ran, hugged the circle of the octagon. And,
I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of somebody else that ran away and literally ended up winning the fight after that reset.
Carlos Holberg did that with Alonzo Menafield. He ran back and then 12 seconds.
That's who I'm thinking of. Sorry. That was an argument I had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, dude, you're about 80 pounds off. And that,
80 pounds off. That happens.
Weird. But dude, Chairez, see, the thing about Chairez is he going into this fight, he only had the Lacerda win. He's just like Chelsea Chandler. Dude, Chelsea
That's
Chandler.
tough.
Dude, yeah, I mean, she's
best and worst pick in all of MMA history. That Chelsea Chandler running from Laurent Dumont.
Chelsea Chandler just kind of stands. It's like sluggish and just gets hit, where CJ Vergara just gets rocked and then just does his best to fucking not just run away from the fight. But I think Chairez, though, what a lot of people overlooked about him, because it's like, oh, he's 1-2 in the UFC, right? I mean, it's a lot. Everybody picked him, I'm sure, because of how terrible Vergara is. But thing is, it's he fought Turo Taira in his first UFC fight. Couldn't get finished. The Tyra couldn't finish him. Joshua Van couldn't finish him. He had that no contest, and then rematch with Lacerda, subbed Lacerda. And I think he needed this fight to kind of, put him in a certain type of conversation. I'd like to see him fight somebody who I really like, actually, who I think could develop into a really good prospect is Jesus Aguilar. And the two of them are both really good grapplers, but they can also both strike. I think that would be a really competitive fight, So that if I was I was matchmaking, I'd put the two of them together, Chairez and Aguilar.
I like it.
No, who do you have for the flyweight?
There you go. Those
I mean,
some fly guys
absolutely
right
in
there.
Mexico. Yeah, you got to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like it, man. I mean, Edgar Chairez got some moxie to him, man. I love the way he came out and had the face paint on at the weigh-ins. He's got the people behind him. He's starting to get a win streak going. He was emotional, like you mentioned, so he's got a strong why. He's currently ranked, according to UFC Tapology, or not UFC Tapology, my apologies, Tapology. He's ranked 33rd currently, so I wouldn't mind throw him up a little bit. It's in the world.
In the world,
yeah.
Really, wow.
And so I'm looking at that top 20 range, and I say, why the heck not? Reward the kid. You gave him performance of the night with the submission win there, and I think there's a couple undefeated guys that he would certainly want to say, hey, give me that. Sign me up for that. And I'm looking at a Rafael Macapa Estevam, or even an Andre Mascote Lima. He just fought as well. But two guys that have their O, it must go. And Edgar Chairez would be the guy that wants to snatch that thing.
Look, I'm not mad at any of those picks.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at any of them, but I've got a different name on the tip of my tongue, and it's a different man. It's a Ray Saruya. He's coming off of a loss, a pretty bad loss, right? We were there in person for UFC 313 over Joshua Van. One of my worst picks of the night. I was right on a lot of other ones, including Magomed Ankalaev to beat Alex Pineda. And Giuliano, before you start, We don't need you to go on the rant against Alex. I know you're not a fan.
What? Oh no! What? No, dude.
On Alex Pineda.
No, you just, dude. I mean, just get him into AA. Like, I mean, it's like I feel bad.
Oh my God, bro!
Alcoholic. Like.
And that was Giuliano, folks. That was him. He was a great addition to the show. You can find him on GiulianoArgenti MMA, folks. No, just kidding. Yeah. But no, look. I mean, with all due respect, though,
dude, no, dude. It's funny to make fun of. Dude, Prey is a great fighter, of course. But
I know.
That being said, though, dude, it's like Jesus. How long before, dude? Ankalaev fought Jan to a draw that was kind of bullshit. That he definitely won. Then neither one of them gets a title shot after that. It's like how many years before this dude gets what he deserves?
Like how are we gonna keep pushing this guy? Come on, we gotta call a spade here. And like how long are we gonna let him hide from Magomed? Which when it happened, it happened.
Yeah.
So again, I'm saying Ray Saruya. He went out there and lost to Joshua Van in that 3-1-3 card, right? I think this is a good fight for Ray. I also think this is a better fight for Edgar, right? If Edgar's able to go out there and put it on him like Joshua Van did. Ray Saruya was he was trying to be the Gambit of flyweight for a minute. He was trying to go out there and make a name for himself.
Dude, his striking looked a lot better than it did in his debut on 303.
100%, but it just wasn't enough for Joshua Van, right?
No. Joshua Van's,
he's a
definitely
stud.
A superior fighter. But and I mean, I think like I think Chairez versus somebody like that. And then after, I mean, I honestly think he beats Saruya. But he, I don't know. Saruya seems to be improving with each fight, So
I like Saruya. I don't know how I would bet. I would too. I'd have to watch the camp, like the clips that he posts and things like that, which I know those only tell part of the story, right? There's gem fighters and things like that, but also just seeing what kind of drills he's running tells a lot.
Yeah, and Chairez really, I mean, he's got a chin for sure. I mean, I don't know if you remember his debut against Tetsuro Taira, but he got cracked hard a couple of times, and he shook it off like fucking rod tag,
I'm sorry, do I remember his debut against who?
Tetsuro Taira. Oh yeah. Right. So
yeah, we're big fans of that guy here. We definitely know that fight.
Yeah, man.
He got cracked in that fight and was just like, all right, okay.
Dude, it was crazy. He's crazy durable. Yeah.
Hey, Juice Man, Gambit, man. Doom.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Let's go. We love to see that casting. As someone who grew up in Louisiana and knowing that Channing Tatum's dad was a sheriff in South Louisiana, let me tell you, Les a bon temps roulé, mon ami, he got that accent right, money.
Yo, you're from what part of Louisiana are you from?
All over. My dad was a bridge builder, so we moved every 2 years. But my mom still lives out in Bossier City. Yeah, we go out once every year.
You ever heard of a town called DeRidder? It's like
DeRidder. Yeah, I got family like outside of DeRidder. Yeah, so my mom's right outside of Shreveport. Bossier's right outside of Shreveport. DeRidder's not far.
I was in New Orleans. The first time I ever went to New Orleans, I met this girl. She was like,
hey, shout out to you for saying New Orleans right. I hate it when people say Nolans or New Orleans. It's so painful. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, I put my time in down there, man. Yeah. No, I met this girl from DeRidder. She was like, she lived in New Orleans. She was from DeRidder, and like, her and I had like a whole thing, and wound up like driving me back to LA. It was fucking dope. Road trip and all that,
dude. Love it.
Yeah,
love
Louisiana, bro.
And yeah, same Juice, man. Can't wait, brother. Can't wait. I'm so happy that Channing Tatum, like he's been trying to play this character since like over a decade ago. So I'm happy he's finally getting his chance.
Dude, you think that Peyton Talbot did any like technical advising for Magic Mike? Or
You choking myself. That was a good one, huh, boy.
That was a good one.
And probably some constipated work.
I wouldn't be surprised. I need to add a I'm not surprised, motherfuckers sound clip. Nano, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to this co-main event of the evening here. We had a lightweight bout between Manuel Torres and Drew Dober. Red Rover, send the ref on over because this man ate too many freaking strikes for my liking. Nano, take the lead because I don't want to talk about it.
Manuel Torres, man, he's an absolute stud. The Toro. performance of the night, co-main event. And if you're not wondering, if you are maybe like me, kind of wondering how did Manuel Torres, get this co-main spot? Well, I think we all saw why. Okay, I think we all have become aware of the man named Manuel, just like my brother-in-law, memorable son of a gun. Okay, that was a hell of a performance, huge win, and basically sent our boy Drew Dober into the Shadow Realm, which I think coming in, thank you, Blanca, as requested. CHIWIWIS! Sorry for your eardrums there. That was too close to the mic, but I don't care. I'm excited because that's what I said after that 1-2, right? I mean, Manuel Torres is so big for this division. I love his hand, the way he moves his hands and kind of lulls you in. And that a clean 1-2 is all she wrote for Drew Dober. I mean, those unanswered shots to the side of the face, the temple. Some might have been borderline back of the head or neck. I don't know. But either way, they were unanswered and unequivocally put Drew Dober out. We talked about it earlier, so shout out y'all if you heard us, kind of mentioning that he's that guy. I mean, if he could do that to Drew Dober, sky's the limit for this guy. I'm curious to hear how y'all felt about it. If you have any names top of mind. I mean, me personally, this lightweight division is just so stacked, almost too stacked to really try to pinpoint just one person. So maybe we'll have a little banter here at the end. I'll save it, but I don't know. MMAnomaly, what'd you think, brother?
Big Onk said Torres never leaves the first round. Crazy. And you're not wrong, my friend. The man is a bit of an MMA anomaly in his own right? He went out there and put it on Drew Dober, but we also had this conversation last week on the show. We said there's a chance that Drew Dober's chin just might be cracked. Did we do a live stream? Were we intoxicated? Did we get influenced by friends to do a little tiny parlay on Drew Dober being a part of it? Yes. But that's okay. That's okay, folks. Because this one was, on Tapology, out of 5,773 people that voted on it, one of the closest fights on the card as far as percentages go. 46% of these people thought Dober had a shot. 54% of them were on Torres. And those 54% were absolutely correct because he went out there and just cracked the chin that we've seen has the ability to be cracked at this point in his career, right? 23 strikes landed, 23 of those considered significant, 100% significant strike ratio here to the 3 of Drew Dober. Was Dober throwing everything in the kitchen sink? Yes. Was he landing? No. He landed a third of his strikes. His opponent landed 92% of his strikes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's one of the highest striking percentage of accuracy I've ever seen in the UFC. 92% is pretty freaking next level, especially for a fight that goes over 1 minute. So, minute 45 seconds in, he cracks him in the dome and then just follows up with a significant amount of ground and pound. And it was textbook, right, folks? It was a 1-2 down the pipe, drops him on his butt, and then he follows up with, again, probably 16 strikes more than he should have had. So, with that being said, we got to end this show in about 13 minutes. Giuliano, what'd you have on this one?
I would like to tell everybody that there were a couple of people that were very, very aggressively confident that Dober was going to win. And I was smiling ear to ear. I was hoping that the judge would let it go on until, Dober was out cold in the moment. My conscience, I'd like to say that my conscience got to me, but it didn't. I was very happy. I'm not gonna lie. I was, it was like, it was like a gift. When just when you're like, all right, this is the one that's gonna separate, my and oh my God, dude, just the. It's
this was the final leg of your thing against Lane, right?
Oh yeah, totally. But okay. There was that, and then there was and I had a couple of people that I know. I had a couple of a couple of 4-figure bets on that fight with some people, outside of YouTube too. And it's a very gratifying pick. But also a lot of people were arguing about it being an early stoppage or a late stoppage. Like, I mean, I did rewatch it, and I think like if you do look closely, you can see Dober like attempting a single leg, and there were less unanswered strikes than like it looked like, but I thought the stoppage was perfect, honestly. And I think that I think that Manuel Torres is like, he's a very dynamic fighter. I mean, the Ignacio Bahamondes loss. I mean, Bahamondes, if he had fought Alcaraz the way he fought Manuel Torres, he'd be on a 2-fight knockout win streak, But because I mean Torres, Torres gets hit in the body, and he has a high guard a little bit, but none of that mattered in this fight. He just outclassed Drew Dober. And I think Dober, after the Moicano fight, it was pretty clear that Dober was, wasn't really the same fighter as like knocking out Bobby Green and all that. And Gene Silva, short notice up a weight class, did what he did. And then this, like, I thought Manuel Torres looked really good. I think and I'd like to see him against somebody, maybe a shot at the rankings, maybe a rematch. I mean, they'll probably never do this, but a rematch against Ignacio Mondes would be.
Ooh, Ignacio would be a fun one. I thought Ignacio was like the far-fetched pick, and Benoit Saint-Denis would be like the close second for me.
Yeah, well, I like that as well. I know Benoit has that fight coming up supposedly, or if that is officially booked with.
It's not official.
Joel.
Oh, is it official?
Mano
Yeah,
Alvarez.
I think it's official.
Maybe it's in the works. I don't know. I mean, I think we've been seeing it out in the circuit. Maybe similar to Costa and Kopylov. Just maybe it's close to finalizing, but typically when we see it out there, it's usually a done deal by that point. But
dude, I
would say I like that, or even Alvarez is a good one. I mean, but even like a Nasrat Haktaparas too.
Actually, that that's a good fight. That's a really good fight.
Nasrat's fun, yeah. Nasrat or Diego Fajeda.
Diego Fajeda. You know what? Actually, instead of him, Grant Dawson's ranked.
You can't do Grant.
You know what? Be a weird fight just for the hell of it. Michael Johnson. Like,
oh my god, and Michael Johnson
he's
beats
been winning
everybody
too.
He's not supposed to beat.
He's
one of my favorite fighters of all time is Dustin Poirier, and like it'll never make sense to me as to why he starts Dustin the way he did. So yes, Michael Johnson.
He's just unpredictably explosive in the way. I mean, against Azaitar, it's like Azaitar either gets knocked out or knocks somebody out in the first round. So but Johnson looked really good, and off that momentum, I think that'd be a good fight.
Apparently, Zellhuber is fighting Michael Johnson in June, though, according to Anakin. With that being said, we're going to go and move on into the main event so that way we can talk about that before Nano has to hop. We got a flyweight bout between Brandon Moreno and Steve Erceg. Look, I thought this one could have gone the other way. Steve Erceg outlanded him. I get the argument for Steve Erceg on sober watchback. I understand why Brandon Moreno won the fight. But again, like he had the more kind of killer instinct in that fight. He was moving forward relentlessly. He was trying to land the more explosive shots, and Steve Erceg was just almost point fighting and landing at a fundamental style, but still it was kind of a point fighting style. So we'll keep it short and sweet so that way we can close pretty soon. Nano, what you got, my friend? What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty close, man. I thought it was a really competitive, high-level fight. Two of the best in this weight class, in our era, really. And Brandon Moreno, man, I love to see him go out there and win in Mexico City, on the home turf. He looked motivated out there. I think the big takeaway for me was his movement. Like, as much as I love the output offensively that I saw from Steve Astro Boy Irsig. I just felt like the eyeball test was telling me that Brandon Moreno was dodging more punches than were landing, and had a few more of the significant exchanges. He was landing that 1-2, coming in and out. Just I felt a little bit more cleaner than his opponent, Steve. I'm surprised, like looking at some of these numbers, that he did outland him. I guess the last round in the 5th, Brandon Moreno did technically outstrike Steve, and he took him down. So maybe that's a good indicator. But in the middle of the rounds here, I mean, round 1, round 2, round 3, heck, even round 4. So he basically was outstruck each round, but it's splitting hairs. I mean, it's not just X's and O's. It's not literal point fighting like you mentioned, which looked like that's what Steve was doing a little bit. Definitely didn't look as comfortable in the pocket, but again, Brandon Moreno, man, the head movement, the footwork. I know the coaches want to see more body shots, but I think he did just enough to take care of business, get it done against a tough Steve Irsig, who has some power, but just wasn't able to really unleash it, I think, the way he would have liked.
Yeah, I thought he won rounds 2, 3, and 4 on the first watch. And again, I can still make the argument that he did it as well in the second watch. He did outland him. It was a very close fight. But again, what you got, Giuliano? How did you score?
You said Irsig won rounds 2, 3, and 4, bro.
I mean, I'm saying it was up for debate. The only rounds that you can decisively say like were easy to score were rounds 1 and 5, and that's a fact.
Yeah. True, and 3 for Irsig, definitely. I think.
I thought 2 was a really good round for Irsig.
2 was very close. I had it 4-1, but I thought 2 was really close. I would have understood if.
And see, this is one of those fights where like I'm not gonna fight with you if you say it was 4-1 for Moreno. But if somebody said it was 3-2 for Steve Irsig, I'm not gonna fight with them either.
Yeah,
because it was razor thin for 3 rounds.
No, it was definitely not. Dude, Irsig didn't have it either way, but I could see it 3-2 Moreno. I had it 4-1 Moreno, but what I realized watching that fight, right, is how good Kai Kara France has become since the Albazi fight.
You're not wrong.
Because honestly, I think that Kai Asakura getting a title shot right away was a good move, because Pantoja, before he was champion, used to fucking finish people like more often than not. And then I think when Pantoja became champion, he started to fight way more cautiously. Definitely for the first title defense against Royval, who he finished in their first fight, definitely against Irsig. Asakura, was a crazy, like, savage striker, forcing Pantoja to fucking, either like kill or be killed, right? I think that Pantoja has that in him. Moreno, it's like he does too, if you remember some of his fights when he was champion, and even before. But I think that, I think Irsig has a way of making it difficult to commit, I mean, if you saw the the lunging, overhands that Brandon Moreno threw, and missing more than he landed by a lot, I think Irsig frustrates people. I mean, Moreno is a great fighter. The way he dials in his feints and all that, and I mean, I think they kind of, to a certain degree, neutralized each other in a way. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a weird thing to say. It's like, after this main event, it's like I'm looking past both of them to Kai Kara France, I mean, he can't, he just came out and dusted Steve Irsig, and and it's like, and so I'm thinking, like, all right, Moreno could probably finish this dude in the championship rounds.
Moreno finished him in round 3.
What?
Kai Kara France.
I'm not talking about Kai Kara France. I'm saying against Irsig, right?
Gotcha. I was like, he finished him already.
No, yeah. No, so yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I felt that Kai Kara France was robbed in the 5-round fight against Albazi, but regardless, the Kai Kara France that just fought Steve Irsig and knocked him out, that's a
different animal.
Yeah, he trucks through Albazi, he finishes Albazi.
I agree. I agree.
And so, like, this fight just made me realize, like, all right, like, we got a good, like, Kai Kara France has got to get the next title shot, honestly. Like that.
I mean, I agree. I think Kai Kara-France should get the next title shot. But with that being said, Nano, before you got to hop, do you have a name on the tip of your tongue for who Brandon Moreno should fight next?
Man, I almost want to see him fight Manuel Cop, but I would say he's either got to wait for the next number one guy, the next obvious number one, or I guess we do another 4-peat, and it's, Pantoja versus Moreno. Would it be 4, I guess, if they count the Contender Series matchup or the Ultimate Fighter matchup? So
it'd be 4.
Not ideal, but they're the best right now, I think.
Not ideal, but not bad. Definitely not bad.
No.
The only other name I have again, that's definitely on the top of the list. But the only other name that I have is Raw Dog Royval, right? He had a canceled bout against Manuel Cop. That's another name that you mentioned. We've already seen it once. I know Brandon Moreno got the split decision though. Brandon Royval got the split decision. So it was a close fight.
bro.
It was a horrible fight, but it was a close fight.
Yeah, I think,
I'd like to see both of these guys come in with a little bit fuller of a camp, and I think that'd be a hell of a fight to not headline but co-headline UFC Noche.
I mean, maybe honestly, like either Royval or Moreno. Like Kamarov's a contender. Like I don't care what anyone says. I think if not in his night, I think the UFC doesn't really know what to do with the flyweight division. So they do like weird shit like fast tracking Erceg because Makayev's fight on the same card was boring. I think that throwing somebody. I mean, I like Manuel Cop versus Moreno definitely, but it's hard to be like, all right, Moreno should fight down after coming off a win, but it's just like you got these same people floating around at the top, and I mean, Kai Kara-France looks definitively better, at this point. So I mean, the next title shot, I really feel belongs to him. If Manuel Cop wins another fight, especially in the fashion that he won his last 2 in, I think he's probably next. In the meantime, though, I mean, I'd like to see Cop versus Moreno, or that really, if we're gonna be realistic and talk about an exciting fight, that's the fight probably.
Yeah, I mean, Cop Moreno would definitely be a fun fight. And with that being said, folks, we have to call it an end. We got places to be, people to see, and we don't want to leave these folks waiting, just like we don't like to leave you folks waiting. So, in the comments below, as soon as this episode wraps, let us know which fights you would like to see next. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. And if you do none of the above, that's totally fine as long as you do one of the or both of the next 2 things. This is all we really care about, folks. Keep on going and keep on growing. That's all that matters, folks. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next episode. Let's go.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.